Hello, hello. This is Sandy from Ledoux Designs. We have a house full tonight. So I have a couple of stamp sets that we're going to use tonight. So we're on CC Designs still. We are going to use this haunted house and this Grimm Reaper. It's going to be super fun. I don't see anyone here yet, but I'm sure you guys will join in. So while I'm waiting for some people to pop on, I have already stamped the Grimm Reaper in the corner, and I put a mask over him already so that we can stamp the rest. And when you pop on, can you just say hi so I can make sure I can see comments and such? I would greatly appreciate it. This is the cute little haunted house I have. So we're going to use this. All right, so I know the haunted house is going to be behind the Grimm Reaper. I'm going to scoot it over just a little bit because I don't want that pumpkin to show. I don't know why, I just don't. So I'm going to make sure he's over top of the mask so it won't show. That way the Grimm Reaper will be in front and the house will be in the background. Now I don't have to do anything with the fence that's in the set because Dale made me a little fence to use, which I'm excited about. He also gave me a little ghost, although I won't lie, the little ghost in this set, I have a mask over him right now, but this little ghost, oh my goodness, he's so stinking cute. And I even have a mask for him already. So there's a pumpkin on the house over here already, and I'm good with that pumpkin. We'll remove my hair. We don't really need that. And I might use this little ghost over here that Dale made for me, or I might come back in and use the other ghost here in a little bit. But we also have, hi Diana, we also have some little bats that we might use. And there's already a moon, so I don't need to build a moon. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp this. This is going to be our card front. So there's going to be some coloring and oxide background to go with it as well. I already have some markers pulled here because we're going to do some cool, nifty technique tonight for our Grimm Reaper. And I'm excited. Hey Diana, if you could say hi, that would be great. So I could see if I can see the comments, because sometimes I can't see the comments on there. And I would really like to know if I can see the comments or not. Oh, hello, Cheryl. Thank you for doing a comment. Now I know I can see comments. Hey, and Joy's right here. She can actually answer you without even typing.
Hi, Cheryl.
See? I have company tonight. Now I have Dale and Joy to give me helpful hints. I'm going to stamp this twice because I feel like that wasn't quite as dark as I would like it to be. So we're actually going to be doing some Copic coloring on the house and the Grimm Reaper tonight. So it's going to be fun. I think we're going to go ahead and start with masking everything and doing our oxide background first, which we usually don't do. So I'm kind of switching it up a little bit tonight because I know a lot of people have get to watch the beginning and then don't get to see the end. So we're going to switch it up just a tad bit tonight so everybody can get a chance to see all of the parts being done, even though I know you guys are so dedicated and you always watch my replays anyway, which is so nice. I just want to go ahead and give anybody popping in a chance to see. All right, there is, I think I need to put this tree on here too though. I'm really feeling the tree. So we're going to do this tree. I think we should put him back here. I think I'm going to put it kind of behind his head just a little bit. I don't want it to be too much taller than the house. So I'll put it maybe about right there. Maybe we should put a pumpkin in the tree. Wouldn't that be funny? I don't know. We need it to look more spooky because we do have this cool little Grim Reaper who looks happy, but he's going to look a whole lot more spooky when we get done with him. Here goes the tree. Now the tree, I'm just going to oxide over the tree. I got no problems with that. It doesn't have to be, it can be in the background. I am going to stamp it twice though to make sure I got, there are some little jagged spots on there because the tree is supposed to look a little spooky, so some of that won't fill in no matter how much ink we put on it. And I'm just going to leave the tree on here because after we oxide, if we need to stamp the tree again, we can stamp it in the same spot that it's in right now. And I'm good with that. Okay, since we have a fence that Dale made for us, we don't have to do any more. So I'm going to take this out of here. You know, you got to put something down or that stamp will stick right to that sticky mat. And that will not be fun to peel off. Okay, here we go. So since we're going to oxide first to get the background, I know it's definitely backwards. I'm going to put this mask that I already have cut out on top of here. We have a mask already on our Grim Reaper. Let me turn this around so I can really see it. Because it looks like I didn't trim that like all the way. So I'm going to fix that. Whenever you make a mask, you should cut into the black line around it. Otherwise, you'll have this big space between the moon and the sky, and we don't want that. So it should just be covering up the inside portion of the house and the moon, this pumpkin, this fence, and all the good things. So we want to make sure we get that on there pretty good. I'm going to use this little tool here to press that down. Hey, Mama. Okay, so for those just joining now, we have masked everything. This mask right here is still wet, so I'm just going to touch it because I don't want to bleed that onto my background when I start using the oxides. So let me grab my sticky mat. You guys know I love this freaking sticky mat. It holds everything still while I use my oxides. And tonight we are going to actually pull the backing off too so it doesn't move around everywhere. And then watch it stick to my mat, my glass mat, and I won't be able to get it off. We'll soon find out. Oh, I'm going to tell you, that is not easy to pull that off. All right, here we go. Here's my sticky mat. I believe somebody suggested peeling this off the other night when we were live. Might have been you, Cheryl. I can't remember for sure. Now, we've built a couple of skies before, so you guys know how we generally do that. But I'm going to choose some different colors this time just so we see a little bit different. You can't wait to see her. I can put her mug right on this screen because she's here. Just kidding. You will see us tomorrow. All right, I'm grabbing my little device here that holds my stamps. My stamp pads. So I have chosen Mowed Lawn and Rustic Wilderness. I want it to stay fairly dark. I'm going to put the darker part in the background and the lighter part in the front. So just so you know what my plan is. And then we'll meet up the green with the sky. So I'm going to use this one first, which is Rustic Wilderness. So let's get rolling here. It's grass. I should have used the special sauce. Saucy.
You're what?
I should have used your special sauce.
Yes, you should have. It's not too late.
It's not too late. I got a little bit more up here than I kind of wanted to, but we'll make that look kind of like a little bit of a hill back there. I'm okay with that. So we'll just make the ground a bit on the bumpy side. All right. So now our little guy is all covered up, man. And then I'm going to go with a lighter color, which is Mowed Lawn, but I didn't go as light as like the citrus color because I don't want this to be really light. I want to keep it more on the darker side. And I had to cover the little spider's eyes, so I have a very small piece of masking tape over his eyeballs, so I'm trying to make sure I don't wipe that off with my brush, so that's why I'm going kind of slow over the eyeball, because I don't want to mess that up. It looks like I might need to add some ink to this Mowed Lawn ink pad. I guess I like using that color a lot. I'm going to go back to the Rustic just to get a little bit better blend between the two colors. Back and forth. I like the back and forth. So for those that are just popping in, we are doing this in reverse order. I generally don't do any of the Oxides until I've finished Copic coloring. But we're trying this out tonight so that people who come on early and have to leave get a chance to see what normally happens at the end. So we're kind of doing it in reverse a little bit. Now for the sky, I have chipped Sapphire and Tumbled Glass. Chipped Sapphire's been kind of a favorite of mine lately. I've been using that one a lot. I think I want the darker at the top and the lighter closer down. So this is my chipped Sapphire, and I'm going to go very light around the moon. So I'm going to start on this side. Something about this really dark chipped Sapphire for the sky is cool. Darker, the further up I go, the darker I go. So I'm going to do a little bit over here. I want to keep some of the moon area kind of light. So I'm just going to put a little bit over here, and now I'm going to switch to my Tumbled Glass, which is a much lighter color. So I'm not sure how the two are going to blend together, but we're about to find out. Oh, they're kind of pretty. I sort of like them. Don't worry, we'll come back in with dark as well. Mixing these two together and meeting them up where the grass is. We'll have to add some more dark because this is becoming much lighter than I want for the Grimm Reaper. So switching back to my chipped sapphire. Ooh, I like it. It's kind of spooky when it has a little bit darker in some spots and lighter in others. It just kind of works out really nicely. I kind of like it. I'm pretty happy so far. You guys can usually tell how I respond if I'm liking it or not. It's pretty clear how that works out. I'm going to come back in real quick with my green as well. I'm not adding any more ink. I just want to make sure that my two colors are meeting up very well. So I need a little bit of the green and then back with the blue, just to make sure I have a really good blend between the two colors. There we go. And I like that. I even like the tree covered up, not so black and dark the way it usually is. I'm going to pick up my oxides now. Well, they fell over. All right, we're just going to move these out of the way. There we go. Okay, I'm going to use a little bit of the mica, this stuff right here, this micro glaze. Distress micro glaze. I'm going to use a little bit of that on this background because I want to make sure it stays like kind of where I want it to be. I don't want to do too much because I definitely want to, I might want to put, you know, like something else in the background. But when you put this on, it really shines up the background, and I think it will help between when we get ready to do Copic coloring. Like, this will keep this color set where I put it, so I don't have to worry about that anymore. So I'm just kind of putting it over the whole background. You can tell it kind of brought the color out, which I really like. Once you have that done, then whenever you use this micro glaze, you have to wipe it off with a paper towel after you're done, just to get any excess that was on there. Hi, Selena. To get any excess glaze that's left on the surface before we move on to the next part. So are you guys dying to do the coloring? It's gonna be fun. I will say these napkins don't like the sticky mat very much. All right, so we're gonna take it off the sticky mat so we can reveal our empty picture and then color it. Oh, this is gonna be... That was easier than I thought. Here you go, Dale. Thank you. All right. So now we're going to start coloring. So I need to start removing these pieces so we can work with coloring underneath where I masked them. So they'll be just white underneath right now. I mean, that already looks super cool right there. I'm going to save that mask because we can use that mask again. So this little Grimm Reaper, when I cut him out, he was a bit challenging to cut out. So I had to do some of the smaller pieces individually. So I'll show you what I mean in just a second. Like I mentioned earlier, the spider's eyes and the bottom of his little cape right here. This is a separate piece of masking tape. There we go. And then the little spider eyes, I didn't want to make them green. Ta-da! It worked. Yay! Okay, So just so you get an idea, this is what we have so far. So this is going to be what our scene is, but we're going to Copic color those images in there, and then we'll make it into a card when we're done. So I'm going to start off with the Grimm Reaper. And for his bone shape, we're going to work on that. And then we're also going to work on his, we're going to do his teeth too. And we're going to use W's for his teeth because in some places I'm going to make them look just a little bit dirty. Gosh, his eyes are so small. The little spider's eyes. They are teeny tiny. It was a little bit challenging to cut that out, but I did it. Okay, I'm going to zoom in and then I will let you know which colors I have chosen here to mess with this. So I'm going to zoom in real quick so you guys can see a little bit closer. I'm going to do this first. So I have a W3 and I want to put some depth in these teeth. So we're going to start off with these teeth, and I'm just going to put some of this W3 around the edges of his teeth. But I'm not going to do it on all of them. So nothing between these two. I am going to put something between these two. I want some of them to look a bit darker than others. So we'll get there as we go. This part's pretty tiny, so not sure how well you'll be able to see. Joining to watch while I play an online game with my husband. Awesome, Kim. She games like Dale. This one is W1, so I'm just going to kind of pull out from where I put that darkest color. And I may go with some little bit of extra longer streaks in a certain spots just to give it a little bit more of that depth that we're looking for. And W00 will be the last color. Now I know I'm fully aware that you probably can't see these teeth so well, but once we add the bone color for his face, I think you'll be able to see him much more. And when we mess with his eyes, and we are going to do something cool with his eyes. So if you're not comfortable with eyes and you want to see him done kind of cool, stick around. Hey, Timothy, you like it? You like the scene already? We haven't even gone too far yet. Okay, so for anywhere that I want to use black, I'm going to probably focus on the C's. So I'm just going to pull almost the entire C colors out so that I have them handy. Right here where I can reach them. All the C's. Because what I want to do first before I do the rest of his face is this C10. I want to make these nostrils extremely dark. So we're using C10 and then we'll skip to C7 and we'll finish them off. They're still pretty dark, which is exactly what we want. You like everything I do. Oh, thank you. That's so nice. Okay, so for the bone color, I have a few different ones that I like to use. I like to add several different tones in there because I feel like it gives it a lot more dimension. And so we have E44, 43, 42, and then I like to throw in E81 and E51. So we're going to play with all of those colors tonight. And if we need anything darker, we'll go from there. So E44 is the first one we're going to start with. So I am going to start with where his hood covers his head. So we need a real dark, shadowy color there. Now we could do him, you could do him in black if you wanted his little bone color, but I feel like this guy looks more like a little skeleton head, so he needs to have more of a bone color. But sometimes you see the Grimm Reaper in just all black. But it's kind of up to you on how you want to do that. So just building the outside first, and then I'm going to work on his hands as well. We're going to try to do his hands at the same time. So just covering a few places. The underside where there'd be shadow, and then the same thing with this. So around where his hands and fingers meet, I'm going to put some depth in there. Just so we can get him started. Hey, Laura. Okay, so E43 is going to be next. And I'm going to start working this line where I put that original color in there. Don't worry, it'll be a little bit dark to start off with, but when we add the other colors, it'll all come together nicely. So first, I'm just pulling out from where I put that original color, and then I'm going to push back just to keep some of that depth up in there for shadow purposes. Notice I did some of this outlining with the darker color because I want it to kind of look really bony and detailed and stuff. So I'm already going to go around the eyes a bit with this second color. Not how I would do a normal person, but definitely gonna get there. So I'm curious as to whether, I can't remember whether my E81 is darker than E42 or lighter. So I'm gonna test them right here. I think it's darker, yeah. So E42 is next. And then we'll go to E81. So I'm gonna start trying to get some in this center area as well. Tired over there? Get him some deep part here where his cheeks come in. This guy is so cute. I mean, for a Grimm Reaper, this guy is cute as all get out. I'm touching there in between his teeth, and I almost think that needed to be a little bit darker. Hi, Kimber. Hi, Kimber. So I'm going to go back in real quick with my E44 and just add just a little bit more depth, like underneath these teeth, so they kind of stand out just a little bit more than they were. Just want them to show up a little bit better. And then 43 is next because that's the one that I did after 44, and I need to blend out that color a little bit. And we also forgot to do, or I say we, but I know it was just me, myself, and I, forgot to do these bony fingers. So I'm just going to add a little bit of this E43 in those bony fingers. Then E42, and then we're going to go to E81. So I just want to get a little bit of this 42 in there where we added color. And then of course we need some on his hands. They are turned down, so they'll remain pretty dark, except for this one that's up high. Okay, so now we're going to switch to an E81. This one is a little bit of a different tone for, almost looks more like bone. It's got a little bit of a greenish color in it, and I think that'll take it from looking more flesh-like to looking more, I don't know, dead. I mean, however you want to say that. I'm also going to do a little bit over the shadow area to keep that pretty dark. I'm gonna finish off this underside and this hand that's underneath here with this E81. Now, I am gonna probably do a little bit of second coating on this so it looks a little bit more like bone. So this is the E51 and this is milky white. So this kind of adds in a little bit more to make it feel more alive, even though he's dead. But it'll remind you that he was once around to hang out with us. But not anymore. Okay, so he looks really good. I like the way he looks, but I need a little bit more dark depth to him. So we're gonna go back in with our E44. Anytime you layer a second coat of the same color, once it dries, it deepens that color. So you get a little bit darker shade once you go in the second time. I don't normally do a second layer when I'm coloring, but sometimes it's you just need it a little bit darker. And I kind of think we do with him. I think he needs a little bit under these eyes right here. I need him to look kind of sunken in. And then I'm going to go to 43. And I don't know that I'm going to walk it all the way down, but I am definitely going to get some shadow going on with these two colors here. Because we need a bit of depth in a few of these places. I need him to look scary. A little bit too bright around his mouth. Okay. I am now going to just skip the 42 and go straight to the 81. This will make it not so smooth, which I am okay with because he is bones. And I kind of want to leave him with a little bit of texture going on there. So I'm not going to go back in with the E51 anymore. That base coat will be enough to give him that color that I wanted. And now he's going to have just a little bit more darkness to him. He is the dark Grimm Reaper after all. Okay, I'm liking that a whole lot better. So that worked out super good. You might need some more dirty teeth, so I'm gonna just darken those teeth up a little bit. Don't worry, we're getting to the eyes. We're almost gonna be at the eyes. I almost feel like this is not dark enough, this W3. So I'm gonna go just a little bit darker. Maybe pop up to a W5. It's gonna be very dark, so we're gonna be a little bit cautious when we do it. We don't wanna do it too dark. But I definitely want his teeth to look a little bit rotten in there. I mean, he probably walked out of the grave. He looks good. Now we'll go back to the W1 and get a little bit of blending out of that on the edges where I put the color. And I'm just kind of working that color to soften it up a little bit. I'll hold it up in a second so you can see what I did, because it'll make a little bit more sense when you can see it up close. I'm going to use my colorless blender just to push some of that dark color out of the white areas that I want to keep white. Not too much, just a little bit. And then all of these sections that we're doing right now are going to stand out so much more when we finish coloring him in black. So there we go. Now you can see his little teeth, kind of dirty. His little face is done. All right, let's work on his outfit because I feel like when we do his eyes, they're gonna pop so good if his outfit is done. And I want his outfit to stay really, really dark. So we're gonna start with the C10. And I'm not even gonna put, like, I might put a little bit of like a very dark purple in there for the under part of his outfit, but as for all of this stuff on the outside, it's gonna be black. So already you can see when I put this first coat right up against that bone color, it's really gonna help keep that looking really dark. Now we have to be a little bit careful because we are doing this after we've already done the oxiding. So I just want to make sure that I don't go outside the lines, but I also go far enough not to leave any white spaces because, you know, we don't want any white spaces left. There's a little mouse sticking out from his clothes. He's bringing the riffraff with him. Now, if we color outside these lines, you are going to see it. So if you decide to try an oxide first, you may run into that issue. I don't really recommend doing the oxiding first. The only reason we did it tonight was so that those who can't generally watch the whole video get to see some of what we do later in the evening, get to see it now. So that's the reason that we started off. I wouldn't generally say start off with your oxides first, but I felt confident enough that we could do it. I'm going to put some dark black under here. I mean, remember, we want to keep this really dark black, so I am adding more than I normally would because I'm not going to go down to a really light color. So let's put just a tad bit. Thank you, Cheryl. I'm glad you like it. Let's just put a little bit right here so we can see where our shirt stops and the other part starts. Oops, I almost forgot this area right here. This is the underside of the cape, so it's going to remain pretty dark because it's shadowed, and it would be black anyway, just like this area up here. I think I'm going to do all of that in black. I know you guys like to know I have not colored this before. This is the first time we're coloring this. So since I want to keep it dark, I'm only going to skip one number and go down to C9. It's going to look like it's pretty close to the same color, but that's because of what you're seeing and on camera will look the same. I'm trying to figure out, while I'm looking at this, I'm going to look at the actual stamp set because sometimes it's a little hard to tell. But it looks like this little mouse, it looks like he's peeking out from behind. Okay, that's his whole body, so I don't want to color that. And this is the weapon, and this is the jacket. This is where I need to have a little bit of color. Okay. So I just want to make sure I don't color in the wrong spot. So just filling in a bit more of this. I'm going to do the bottom part of his the cuff of his sleeve. And then I think I'm going to finish most of this off with this color, because again, we want to keep that part real, real dark. It looks like I didn't go quite far enough. I can still see white. There we go. And then this area right here, I'm going to extend out from where we put this darkest color at the back of his head. This part that's on the ground, most of it's going to be really, really dark. There we go. We're filling them in. I think with this one right here, I think I'm going to do this area up here. I might as well while I have my black out. I want that to be like a metal, kind of like a metal piece. 8 is next. So starting again down here, this one will be a little bit lighter than the last one, but still pretty dark. Starting to fill it all in. I think we're only going to go one more color down, and then we're going to be done with the outside of his coat. So we're just leaving enough for highlights, except for this area down here. Since his hat covers it, I'm going to keep that even darker. So we'll go ahead and fill that in. We now have to use this one to go around the outside. There we go. I'm going to push out a little bit from the outside towards the back, and then a little bit from the back towards the front. We'll leave just a little bit open for the last color. And then we're going to do the same thing with this one. Just leaving small, small piece. Tiny, tiny piece for the last color. All right, so 7 is next. There we go. It's just kind of a blend, either back and forth or up and down. To fill that out. Still left a little bit of highlight on there, which is nice. That works great for me. And then same thing on this part right here. A little bit of back and forth, but it will still leave a little bit of a highlight there, which is great. That works out perfectly. A little bit on this back part of his hat as well. Now our little spider, he got hidden back there, so we're going to use a multi-liner pen to bring him back to life here in a little while. Oh, we want to finish this area up here. I'm okay with just 2 colors on this. I want it to be light anyway. We have a cat looking out the window. You see that cat? That's what it looks like to me. Okay. I'm not going to put any white in his eyes because we're going to make his eyes very interesting. I'm trying to figure out, I don't know why I keep struggling with this spot, but there's this one spot right there. Like, what is that?
It's where the mask was. It's supposed to be green.
So it is supposed to be green. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the problem. We're not going to be okay with that. Let me see if I can match this green. Maybe I can just color it with Copics and we won't even notice. Oh, look at that. Look, perfect. See? I knew I was missing something. I'm going to put just a tad bit of this YG67 in there just to kind of darken it up, but it's going to be perfect. So that was YG17 and 67 together, kind of made that very same green. So we're good with that. Okay, the stick part right there needs to be brown. I'm just going to stick with the 47 family, so I'm going to do 49 first, which is real dark brown. Again, because we're trying to keep it real dark. And then I'm going to go to 47. And if need be, I'll do 44. But I almost think 47 might be just perfect. Yep, loving it. Okay, so that's it. 49 and 47 was perfect. Now, this area I said I was going to use a purple, so I'm going to use like the BB29. It's still going to be really dark, but it'll have a tinge of purple, and I'm hoping that you'll be able to see the difference between the two, but not enough for it to really make a huge difference. So that was BB29, and this is BB25. This one will have a little bit more purple tone to it, and we'll leave a teeny bit left for BB23, which will be purple, very purple. So it will help bring that out just a little bit. Hi, Charlene. I feel like that'll help a lot. So BB23, just a little bit of coloring over top of the other two colors, just to finish that off in a bit of a purple tone. A little bit hard to tell on camera, but there is a slight purple tone to that. All right, now we're gonna work on those eyes. And I'm gonna tell you, we're trying something new tonight, but I think it's gonna be super cool. So we are going to use these colors, don't freak out. E18, YR27, R59, R46, YR07, YR04, Y17, and FY1. I know this sounds crazy, but just go with it, okay? I wanted him to look different than anybody's ever done before. So that is what we're going with. So I'm going to move some of those other markers out of the way so I can look at these up close and I can see which one I'm using when I'm ready. I'm going to start off with E18. So I want to go around the outside of this eye first. I need that outside to stay pretty deep for this to really pop. So a teeny tiny line around the outside of these eyes. There won't be any whites of the eyes. These are all going to be colored in. Just bear with me. I think you'll like it when they're done. It's what's going to make this really spooky.
Oh my God.
So we're going to go around this center part too, kind of closing in the white, that little tiny white part of his eye. And if we need that to be bigger, we can always adjust for that with the white gel pen when we get done. But for now, I want to close this up a bit, so I know where my lines are and I'm prepared to work these eyes. You can't wait to see this? Okay, so we're still going to use E18. We're going to use some very tiny brush strokes from the outside, all in different lengths and in different directions. And then we're going to come from here and do the same thing, trying to keep them in between kind of where the other ones are. So notice they're very light, they're teeny tiny. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Don't lose it. Stay with me. Don't leave. I know it seems crazy, but bear with me. Now out from the eyeball. Some long strokes, some tiny strokes. Doing the variation between the strokes is what helps make it look a little bit more realistic, which is pretty cool. Okay, so next I'm going to switch to R59, and this time we're only going to go from the center part. we're not going to go around the outside at all. I'm going to try to make those brush strokes not all the same length and definitely in between where those other brown ones are. So starting here, going around the eyeball. We can rotate the paper to make it easier if need be. This is almost a little bit of a lesson on doing eyeballs because you could really do this with other colors to kind of make different eyeballs. So there we go. We're getting there. Not quite there yet. I think I need one more down here. And we're going to switch to is going to be YR07. So this is switching us to orange. Staying in the same area, but this time we're going to go from both ends. So a little bit from this end. Same as we did before. Some shorter, some longer. Brush strokes don't have to be the same length. This is a bad nib on this marker. I meant to change that before we started. Harder to get very tiny little brush strokes with this nib the way it is. Okay, now we're going to come around the outside here and soften this edge where we put that E18. Just kind of going over that E18 to soften it up just a tad. You're starting to see them come to life. They look pretty cool so far. I'm happy with how it's turning out. Okay, now we're going to work a little bit more over top of what we've already done, just to kind of get a little bit more depth. So I'm going to switch now to R46, which is going to give me a little bit more of a blood red. And I'm going to go over these areas. This is just going to almost change it to more of a deep dark red. Same thing all the way around the inside, but we're not going to touch anything on the outside. Nice. I'm liking it. You can see what I'm doing. You can tell. Okay, I'm going to try some Y17 real quick. And I'm going to go from the outside this time, sort of softening that edge and bringing the yellow in to this color. We're going to do that on both sides. We are not done. We still have to do a bit of blending and a bit of accent lines on there as well. So just stick with me. We're getting there. He's a spooky little guy. He's so darn cute. He is cute. I like him a lot. Okay, so this is the last color we'll use. So I'm moving that out of the way a little bit. I'm gonna go in with YR04 and do more of those brush strokes from the outside and a little bit from the inside. This is the Y04 that's going to kind of blend that out a little bit. Make sure that you're doing an extremely light touch on your paper because you do not want to really oversaturate this. If you oversaturate it, it will make it even that much harder. See how it's not really oversaturated by looking at the back? I haven't put a lot of heavy color on here. Now I want to bring out some of those lines again, so I'm going to use YR27 to do that. So some of those initial lines that I put in here, I'm going to deepen those lines out with this YR27, and I may have to use my original first color if this one doesn't work. I wasn't sure if this one would be dark enough. It's kind of not. So I'm going to go back to my E18 because adding all of those colors took some of our detail lines out of there. So we're going to go back in and put some more back in there because we kind of need those. Those are what makes it look Super cool. Only from the center of the eye out. The ones on the outside are still plenty dark enough to work for us. And we'll be doing a final blend with one last color here in just a few minutes. Now you guys know how when I generally do eyes, if you've watched me do eyes, you're pretty familiar with the fact that I usually use G00 to kind of blend the colors, but tonight with this one, we're going to use FY1. This is the coloring paper I'm using the most right now, and this is Hammer Mill. It's Hammer Mill paper with the chameleon on the front of the package. So let's see, it's called premium coloring paper. I'm going to actually bring it in so you can see. It's 80 pound. It's a Hammer Mill premium coloring, and it has that chameleon on the front. So far this has been my favorite that I've tried. I do have somebody sending me some samples to try a few more colors. So I'll let you know once I have those colors. So now I'm going to do what I generally do, and I'm going to with G00, and I'm going to take that FY1 and I'm going to do that like half circle around this edge right here where that red is kind of showing a dark line, and that one will soften that line up a bit and kind of bring that color together, sort of make it look a little bit more like an eyeball. So blending. So the reason, I'm pretty sure you guys want to know why I chose to do eyeballs in such a strange manner. The reason that I chose these were because these eyes are so big and they're gorgeous, but if you color them like regular eyes, then he's not spooky at all. And I wanted him to remain spooky, so I wanted to give him some eyes that look like they were on fire. So now you can kind of see those eyes. And I'm going to tell you two things that'll make those eyes look even better. One is we have to use a multi-liner to deepen the black. So I'm going to use 0.3. We're going to deepen that black up. And what I mean by that is we're just going to go over it with a black multi-liner. You can already tell this one looks way better than this one. So now we have super dark eyes, which I think look pretty cool. What do you think, Joy? Do you like them? You like them?
Yeah.
Awesome sauce-em.
That multi-liner makes all the difference.
It really does. I think I'm going to use the multi-liner real quick to do the spider. Looks like he's wearing a hat. But I'm really just coloring over the oxide we did to bring that spider back out because you kind of couldn't see him. I'm okay with the tree looking sort of foggy, but I wanted the spider to really stand out a little more, especially since he's hanging off his hat. I just think it's really cute that way. He just needed to have his bit of personality going on there. I'm going to wipe off just on an excess piece of paper my multi-liner just because I had added that like glossy coating and I want to make sure it doesn't stay on my multi-liner. Okay, so for his, what do you call that, Dale? What do you call that? For his scythe,
Knock it in.
I'm going to use the N colors, so N3, N1, and colorless blender. So I'm going to use this color right here. Want it to stay kind of white, so I'm not going to put a whole lot. And then we're going to use N1 to extend from where we put that last color. And then a little bit along the outside. And then in order to blend that color out, those eyes makes this image spooky. You love it? Yay! That's what I was hoping for. That is exactly what my target was. So, yay! Accomplished. Okay, I'm going to blend out that weapon with my colorless blender. There we go. Keeps it a little spooky, a little cool. My little bitty mouse, I'm going to use the W colors for my little bitty mouse that I used earlier. And I'm going to use W5, 3, and 1 because I want him to be gray. But I don't want him to be so dark you can't tell what he is, you know? And I think this is a little girl. I think this is a little girl mouse that has a bow on her head because that's the only thing I can think of that would be on top of her head twice. This might not be a dark enough color. This might be too light for... I might need a W7. Let's pop to W7. We can always go over and make it a little darker. We can't make it a little lighter. So always start with 1, and then if you want to make it darker, you can. He's so tiny. He doesn't really need a whole lot of color. Back to W5. We're going to blend that out. I think I'm just going to stick with these 2 colors. I feel like it's plenty of dimension on that little mouse. Now, his little nose and whiskers got covered up by the ink as well. So in order to fix that, we're going to have to use the multi-liner again. I'm going to use the BV23, which is that purple color that kind of gave the purple tint for this, as these little, whatever bow that is on that little mouse's head. So here's our multi-liner again, 0.3. And I'm going to be real careful to just kind of do that outline and then fill in his little nose. And then we're just going to go over his whiskers real quick. So just so you can see it just a little bit better. I think that helps a lot. There we go. I'm also then again going to wipe it off on a piece of paper just because I don't want to get any of that residue to stay on my pen. Alrighty. So now we have to do the house. So I'm going to stick with some of the colors that we used on the eyes in the house color to make that really stand out. Hang on one second. We're going to give it a red roof. So we'll pull the red in. We're going to use the E18 first. So it's going to be red but have some brown base to it. So I'm going to put that brown base right in between these areas right here. So we get a little bit of depth in that roof. Don't worry, the house will be way faster than the little guy was. Then our little Grimm Reaper with his cool looking eyes. Hey, did you guys know that CC Designs has a contest, a monthly contest running over there? And anything you want, you can create anything you want. Anything goes, I think is what it said. But if you do Halloween, then you get an extra entry. And they do a drawing, and you get some, like, I think it's $15 coupon for shopping in their shop. If you win, it's a random generator, so nobody's judging your work. So it's just random. As long as you enter, you can win. And I think that's pretty cool. I've entered it with one of the ones we did on the live the other night. But again, it's a random generator, so it doesn't really matter like how good or how not good or how new you are or seasoned you are. I mean, anybody can enter, and it's on their Facebook page, CC Designs Facebook page. So go check that out. You could practice eyes like this, and you can enter on their page. So I'm building that underside, some darkness on the underside where under each one of the roofing panels is, just to give some depth in that roof. I originally put the brown down here underneath the last set of shingles. And I'm just filling that in now with the red. Not all the way across just yet. We need one more color to go. Before I go all the way across, I should probably do a little bit more up here, just so we get that from the top cleared up. Okay, I'm going to switch now to R39 because I want to get a little bit more reddish color. But once I use this one, it's going to be significantly lighter. It's really going to bring out that red, so I'll be toning it down probably with a different color here in a minute. Like another brown color, just to kind of get that worked in there. Toned down a little bit so it really does look like a old red roof. This is the color that I'll go around the outside of everything because we only have one more color to go and then we'll be done. So I'm just blending those out and then going around the edge. Blend out, around the edge. And we're just doing that on each one of the panels. Down on the, from the top and around, and then around the edge on the bottom. There we go. I mean, who'd have thought this cute little haunted house would look so good? So good. It's a little bit brighter, so let's pull in the YR27 that was a little bit too light for our other scenario. I'm going to kind of go over the whole thing, and then we'll go back and work the areas that didn't blend so well, the part that's white. So I'm just kind of putting this color over the whole thing to kind of bring it back down to an orangey, brown-ish red. Is that even a color? I don't know. But I think you guys know what I mean. Almost be a good color for a roof on fire. Okay, so I'm going to work these areas right here where I put the last color to kind of blend that out. I still want it to look like a highlight, so I'm not going to blend it all the way out, but I definitely need it to be slightly darker than what it came out with the first coat. And I'm okay with even some of it still staying like spots because this is an old house. It's an old roof. I'm okay with it not being all filled in. And who knows, maybe this was a different color underneath. You never know. Can be any story you want to tell. It works if it's a good story. So I'm almost finished with the roof, and I'm liking it too. I think I want that chimney to be a little bit darker. Maybe stick with those real deep dark reds so it's pretty dark. But almost gives it a flamey look because that orange and brownish orange were added into it. The YR colors. I like it. I'm going to work on the chimney. And I'm going to make the chimney black, but with a much lighter black than his outfit. So C8 is what we're going to start with. You'll notice that I'm putting more of the black on the one side, and that's because the moon is behind it on the other side, so we'd see a lot more light coming the other way. C7 next, and then we're going to work on the whole building, so that should come together rather quickly. I think we need a yellow moon though, because it needs to be a really spooky moon, not a white moon. C6 is next. We're just going to blend that out. Still leaving it lighter on the right side than the left side. Okay, let me grab some yellow colors for the moon while we're up there, and then we'll do the building. I want to do the moon first, I think. So I want that moon to be really bright-ish yellow. I want it to really stand out. So I'm going to see. I'm pulling some orange color, some yellow colors real quick. I need one that has a lot of depth to it. And then, oh yeah, that's good. And then one that's a little bit lighter for the outside. So I'm going to work with YR23 first. Kind of build a little bit of depth in some areas of this moon. I mean, normally it's be like clouds, but I need a little bit of dimension to this moon. So I'm going to start building this, but I'm not going to go all the way to the edge because I want the edge to be lighter, like a lot lighter, almost like a glow. This is a spooky moon for sure. I'm going to work this just a little bit more, and I'm going to do it with dots because I need it a little bit sparsed out a little bit more. Okay, we're also going to grab the Y13, going to be a bit lighter. I want the center of the moon to stay like really dark, and then around the edge we're going to start getting lighter so that we have a little bit of a glow. A little bit around her back. I'm going to work this outside piece real quick. We do want to work over top of those colors a little bit that we put on there just so it all blends really nicely together. Looking spooky. And then I am going to take this Y11 real quick, and I'm just going to add a tad bit out here. just so the glow isn't really white. It's a little bit more on the yellow side. I'm also going to wipe off my marker on this paper now that I touched that, just to make sure I didn't pick up any residue. All right, time to do the house. So I think the house should be a brownish color. So we're going to go back to those same colors we used before. The E49, 47, 43, 44, 42, kind of all of these. Starting with 49, that's the darkest color. It's where we're going to do under the rooftop. And so under here, under the roof. So we have a pretty solid line of overhang that's shadowing the top. A little bit down on this side and a little bit down here. And then we're going to start working those cracks. Those cracks need to be pointed out like a lot on this. So we're going to work on that. This house is old. It's also boarded up, but we're going to use different weathered wood for that boarded up part. I think I'm going to wait, maybe black for the frames at the top. I think I'll be good with that. And then I'm going to work on the bottom part of the house. The part that's closest to the ground needs to have a bit of this really dark on it. But I'm going to skip the door. I think we need an orange door because, I mean, come on. It's Halloween. It needs an orange door. I think it needs an orange door. So just building up a bit of that dark color. I think this side, these corner edge areas, I think I'm going to put a little bit of depth on there just so we have it. And this indent part right here. And then we'll start working with the other colors. Now, I kind of think I want to go around the outside of the door frame to keep a little bit of depth around the door. We'll blend that out a lot, so don't worry about that. It won't be so obvious. And maybe I should do it around this one too, since I have no shades on this one. And I'll do in between the shades and the window on these sides, this side and here. So it looks like the window shades are falling off. Okay, next is going to be 47. And I don't want this house to be really light. I want to keep it dark, so we're going to use a lot of the 47. So all of this is covered by overhang. Right to the window. I knew that was coming. I'm going to do around the outside on this color too, because I want to keep the outside of the house, you know, pretty dark.
It's going to be brown from the windows to the walls.
It is. It's going to be brown all over. I'm not going to color my pumpkin. I want him to stay. I want to do him orange too. Definitely a different orange than the door, but still orange. Okay, you guys are quiet tonight. I mean, what'd you think of those eyes? Aren't they cool? I was so excited to show you guys those eyes. I love them. Just going over where I put that darkest color just to get, we're going to start going over the cracks as well, make them a little bit bigger cracks so they stand out a little bit more when we get done. I think maybe we should put just a little bit underneath these shades, like they're sticking out, or putting a shadow on the wall. There we go. We're gonna do a little bit of quick texture stuff to this too when I get the color on there. Okay, E44 is next. Start working this color a little bit more, leaving highlight areas for the last two colors. It's a big difference between 47 and 44, so sometimes you have to work that transition area a little bit more than with some other colors. I'm going to work on that crack a little bit more. Really just want to make sure it stays fairly dark. It's looking old. And we might put a little bit of gray over top of that to tone it down a little bit when we get done, because that's kind of a really bright brown. Okay, E43 is next and last, I believe. So this is the one I'm just going to make sure everything blends really nicely where I want it to, and then where I don't, I'm okay with that, because we're going to use the colorless blender to kind of show some paint issues with this house. I'm okay with this not being a smooth coloring. Like, I'm okay if it looks like there's, you know, darker spots and lighter spots, because there's a lot of wear and tear on this house. I mean, it's boarded up. It needs to be a little bit on the rickety side. So I'm going to use my colorless blender now to show a little bit more of that worn out. So I'm going to use this time the chisel end, and I'm just going to put some marks on there. I want it to look a little bit worn out. I'm going to put some going different angles. This is just going to build a bit of texture and wear and tear on this house. That's what I'm looking for. The longer you hold it there, the more ink it's going to move around. It looks like the perfect cover of a spooky book. Oh, that's amazing. That's quite a compliment. Thank you.
That's a heck of a compliment.
Yeah. I missed down here, so I need to go back in with E43 before I work on any texture down there. Oh, I guess I needed 44 down there. This part will always be a little bit darker because it's way underneath, but we're still going to do a little texture on that one too. I'm going to go back in one more time for just to make sure some of that texture holds. I mean, you could already see it, but you'll be able to see it a little bit more if you do it a second time. And then down here, I'm going to hit that just one time, not two times. But you can see the work, the texture, the bold texture in that, which I really like. So now we're going to come in. I'm going to actually use my E100 for a few areas that I want to be like super black. So our frames, window frames, I want those to be super black. So I'm just going to color those in with the 100. I think since we're going to do the door orange, we're probably going to do the shutters orange as well. And I'm going to do just this trimming around the door in this black. It'll make the orange stand out just a little bit more when we get to the orange. I also will probably do the door handle in black, but not yet. I have to wait till I get my orange in there, because if I don't, I'll color over the black and it'll streak. So keep that in mind when you're coloring, that you don't streak your colors. I like the black frame. I think that worked out really nicely. All right, so now for our orange, let's go ahead and stick with the oranges we already had pulled out. So let's see what we can make with YR27, YR07, and YR04. Let's see if we can make that door look super good. I'm going to start with these panels up here, and then we'll move down to the door. I'm going to put some short streak brush strokes and some long ones and some in different areas, just because I want them to look a little tattered and worn. A little bit from this end. There we go. I think I'm gonna like this. So let's go ahead and work on the door as well. So underneath where these wood panels are, and the wood will be brown, we're gonna start working in some of this orange color here. Also around the top frame of the door, we'll make that orange. And while we're at it, let's just make our pumpkin orange too. Might add a little bit more brighter orange to him, but we'll see. Okay, so YR07 is next. I only mentioned 3 colors, so we're gonna try to get away with 3, but if we need to add a 4th, we will. I'm still gonna leave this very jagged, a little bit of orange on the outside, and then just in between a few of these, like that. We'll blend out with the last one, but we're gonna keep them old and rickety. You can kind of tell by looking at the tip of my marker right now, for those that are watching, it is a very juicy marker. Very, very juicy marker. If I hadn't taken the cap off the other end, it probably would be dripping all over my paper now, because it is very full of ink. I think this is a good color for my pumpkin too, so we're going to cover him. His little eyes, we're going to give him white circles in his eyes, because he's just going to need it, I think. YR04 is our last color, and I'm going to go from the outside towards the inside. It'll be going against all the other colors that I put on there, so it'll keep it looking kind of jagged. You can't see it quite as well on camera, but when I hold it up, you'll be able to see it better. Also, when I photograph it, I will show you guys. We're going to put yellow lighting inside the windows in just a few moments. So blending that out so we get a really good look. I like the different highlight colors in there. You'll see it a little bit more in this pumpkin right here. See, I bet you didn't know I was going to make him really orange. Okay, we need a bit of yellow inside as lighting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the YR23, and I'm just going to put that like in the center area right here, and maybe just on the edges. And we're going to work from there, making it kind of light in those windows. So I'm going to go to Y13. Kind of blend that out a little bit. Starting to get just a little bit of that yellow in there. This kind of just looks like they have lights on that are... Oh, sorry about that, guys.
Can they see that?
We're back. Yeah, when you tried to link with the internet.
Oh, but were they
It pauses for them.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. All right, so next I'm going to go to Y11. And I'm going to start from the bottom and work that up. I'm only going to do one light brush because I don't want it to be very dark yellow at the bottom. There we go. Ooh, I like this spooky house. It feels spooky to me. Okay, now we need to do the door handle black. So I'm going to get the 100 out and I'm going to go ahead and do the little door handle black. It's okay. And then I'm going to use the YG67 just to do this top of the pumpkin. I think this pumpkin needs some texture. I'm telling you, it's killing me. Okay, here we go. YR27. We need to put him in just a little bit of these like pumpkin lines because it drives me crazy when he doesn't really look like a pumpkin. Don't worry. We're not done yet. Okay, now we're going to skip all the way to the YR04 that we used. And we're just going to blend out those out just a little bit so they're not so prominent, but we at least have some pumpkin lines in there. I like it. Just light pumpkin lines. We need them. All right, what kind of browns do we have out here? I don't see any just typical fence brown. So I'm going to go ahead and pull one more color. I'm going to pull the E29, 27, and 23. And that's what we're going to do with these pieces of wood right here. If we need them to be darker, we'll pull in the 49, but I think we're going to be okay with the 29. So I'm trying to decide what that is right there. You may have to look at the stamp again. If you ever stamp something out and you can't tell in black and white what it is, you may have to look again at the stamp set because it might be a little clearer there. Okay, so that should be the door because that's open right there. And then this little piece down here should be the color of this. So I'm going to go with the C1 for this piece down here. And then I'm going to grab my YR07 to do the door part that we missed. Now I can go to my E25, building more of this wood area here. And I just need that to look like wood. I don't need that to be smoothed out or anything. I'm also going to use E23 to finish off those little slats of wood. I do want my fence because I'm going to put a black fence up. I think, where'd my fence go? Here's my fence. This is my wrought iron fence I was going to put on here. But I almost feel like it doesn't work.
Put it in the bottom.
I don't really think I need it, actually, after all. I kind of like it just like this. I kind of like it just like this. Okay, here we go. E49. We are almost finished, you guys. E49. I'm going to work on these pieces of wood. So the in-between panels, I want them darker. And then at the very bottom down here. And then we'll try to get us some wood slats in there. And I was going to use that other fence. Otherwise, I would have stamped more of this fence. But I don't think it quite goes now. Since we have brown fence here. And anyway, you guys know where I'm going with that. Super spooky. And now I'm going to go to E29. I want the fence to stay a little darker than these boards. And I like these boards, but I feel like they need a little bit more. So I'm just going to add a little bit more of this dark in there just to get them a little bit darker. I want these to be quite dark. So there'll only be one more color with this. It'll be the 25, so it'll stay pretty dark. We did pretty good at oxiding first and still getting everything colored in. That was the very first time I have ever done the oxide part first. And I'm pretty happy. I'm not disappointed, actually. All right, I feel like our cat needs to be a little bit more detailed in the window. So I'm going to use my multi-liner to kind of just go around that little cat. I swear it's a cat. Go around this little cat and get him colored in just a bit. So I feel like he'll stand out a little better. He needs some eyes too. I'm serious. I can't help it. All right. So I need a sentiment. Where's my stamp set? So we're definitely going to have to stamp a sentiment. So we have Happy 31st, You're a Scream. I kind of like that one. You're Spooktacular, I'm Batty for You. Spooky Wishes, and Happy Boo to You. I like You're a Scream. I'm not going to lie. I like You're a Scream. Look, I have a ghost. I can put a ghost in there. Oh, that's perfect. So Dale made me that ghost. Isn't it cute? It's perfect. All right, we got to do our white gel pen stuff before we go sticking it all together as a card. So I'm going to use the white gel pen to just put a little bit of white, kind of to make those white parts of his eyes look a little bit more circular than what I had when I was just rounding that out. So I kind of like that. I want my pumpkin to have a little bit of eyes just because it's so cute that way. I want my little spider to have some eyeballs on his little face, even though you can't really see it. I think my Boo is okay like that, although I could give him little eyes too, because, you know, it's just cute like that. Some reflection for our cat in the window. A little bit of reflection on the door handle, not that you want to touch that. A little bit on the weapon here that's coming after somebody. Yeah, you know I can't say that word very much, so that's why I just keep saying weapon. Oh my goodness. Spooky Wishes. She thinks I should use
this sentiment. It's Reaping time.
Hi, Jenny. Oh, Timothy, you love this card. Thank you. Okay, since no one else said anything, Spooky Wishes is what it's going to be. Spooky Wishes. Okay, let's pick our card base real quick, and we'll be able to finish this up in just a minute. I just got new card bases, so we have, I just cut new ones, so we have any color in the book, whatever color we want. Gonna zoom out so you guys can see what I'm doing. Got all the colors in the world. What color do we want? Da, na, 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 na. I think yellow too. That's funny you said yellow. Okay, let's try this yellow. Not really feeling that. Are you? Or this yellow? No? This yellow. Did you like this yellow? Do we need black with it then? Because I'm thinking that we
Try
need
the orange.
like a dark orange? Like this?
Just out of curiosity, yeah.
Yep. Okay. That's going to be it. Oh, thank you, Cheryl. Okay. Here we go. Let's cut this up. I think it should be, I think it might need to be this way. Yeah, let's do it like this. Yellow here and then orange. So let me grab my trimmer. I'll trim that up. So our card is going to be 5.5 by 4 1/4. So I am going to make this piece a 1/16 of an inch smaller on both sides, so it still fits on my card. And I'm going to have to trim our image that we just colored. I think I need to cut a little bit more. I don't know why I think that 1/16 or 1/8 of an inch is enough for me. It's just not. It never is. I don't know why. All right. This, I think, is going to fit much better. Yep, much better. All right, now, so I have to trim my picture that we colored. I love it. Pop would repeat the last hour for me, please. Oh. Okay, I'm going to trim this. It was already trimmed to 4 by 5 1/4, but I feel like we need to trim it just a little bit more so it goes a little bit better on the yellow. So let's see how well that worked. I think it might be perfect. Let's check it and see. Nice. I think I could use a teeny bit more. So let's shave that off just a teeny bit more. And then I think it'll be perfect. And we can just roll from there. Okay, we are going to use this cute little ghost. So I'm going to, and we're going to stamp our sentiment here in just a moment. I thought we were going to have to redo the tree, but we are not. I like the tree foggy looking, so I'm pretty happy with the tree the way it is. So I'm going to go ahead and take my tree off of my Misty because I don't need it right now. And I'm going to put this on there so we can stamp our sentiment. We're going to put our ghost up here. So we're going to put our sentiment down here. It's going to say spooky wishes. That kind of fits perfectly right there. I'm going to use my VersaFine Clear. I'm going to have to be careful because we put that stuff on there already. The micro glaze. So we need to make sure. Just going to hold it there for a second. I want to make sure that it sticks and does great. Voila! It's perfect. Oh, it just couldn't have been a better night tonight, you guys. This has really worked out nicely. I am super happy with how his eyes came out. That was the part I really wanted to show you guys tonight because I thought you would think it was really, really neat. Isn't that cool? All right, so now I am going to attach this to my yellow using my Barely Art glue that if you don't have any, you can get it at PajamaCrafterStamps.com. I feel like that, what's that one guy whose puppet always says .com? Who is that, Dale? Do you know?
No.
It's the one with all the...
Jeff Dunham.
That's it. JeffDunham.com. He always says that. Here we go. I know I haven't put my ghost on there yet. We're okay right now. I just want to make sure that I don't touch over that because I can still see that it's wet. And I don't want to mess it up. So I'm just going to rub this on all the rest of it and not that area down there. Because I do not want to mess it up. It's going to take a little bit for it to dry because I put that micro glaze on there, but we'll be okay. It will dry eventually. Just might take a little while. And I'm okay with that because it can just sit out all night. Hi, Marianne. So here we go.
Happy birthday.
It's her birthday yesterday.
Was it yesterday?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I missed my days up.
You did miss your days up.
I even wished her a happy birthday yesterday.
That's okay. You could say happy belated birthday today, Mary Ann.
Happy unbirthday.
Or have very merry unbirthday. Okay, I'm going to put a little pop dot on this little ghost because I want him to really look like he's floating. All right, here we go. Oops, he's stuck to my finger now. Oh, Dale, thank you for the ghost.
The ghost is perfect.
Here it is. Here it is, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you thought that was fun. We did some cool techniques tonight. We did some texturing on the house. We did a yellow moon. Sandy, do you Stampin' Up paper for your cards?
Cardstock.
Yes, all of the colored cardstock is Stampin' Up. All of it. I have all the colors, and they're the only ones I use. Unless I'm doing a make and take or something, and then sometimes I use the 65 pound or the 100 pound Michaels paper. But when I make card bases, they are all Stampin' Up. I'm just a huge Stampin' Up paper fan. Yep. And look, they match the Copics so well. Okay, so if you watched tonight and you saw everything, or if you're just tuning in now, this will be up on YouTube for replay. As soon as I finish the live tonight, I will download and upload so you can watch it again on replay. You can practice those eyes. And then, so be sure to like and subscribe. You'll be able to see every time I post on YouTube. This was Tiny Halloween. Tiny Halloween is the name of the stamp set. And we did this little guy on here tonight. That's why you use it too? I love it. I love the Stampin' Up paper. Okay, so thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you guys liked this. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. And feel free to let me know what you thought. Reach out. Let me know. By the way, FYI, I will be traveling next Tuesday and Thursday. So there probably will not be a live unless Dale gets a wild hair and pops on there for you guys. So if you're a regular watcher, you might want to chime in just to see if he happens to get brave and do a live with you guys. So otherwise, I'll be back. Probably going to be gone 2 weeks, but I'll let you know in posts on the website because I think then I'm going to a second show. So I will see you guys as soon as I get back. Don't worry, I'll always be back. Thank you for watching and have a great evening. Love you guys.